Chapter 2 Father and Son. We will leave Danglars struggling with the demon of hatred and endeavoring to insinuate in the ear of the shipowner some evil suspicion against his comrade, and follow Dante, who, after having traversed the La Canebière, took the Rue de Noyer, and entering a small house on the left of the Allée des Meilles, rapidly ascended 4 flights of a dark staircase, holding the baluster with one hand, while with the other he repressed the beatings of his heart, and paused before a half-open door from which he could see the whole of a small room. This room was occupied by Dante's father. The news of the arrival of the Pharaon had not yet reached the old man, who, mounted on a chair, was amusing himself by training with a trembling hand the nasturtiums and sprays of clematis that clambered over the trellis at his window. Suddenly, he felt an arm thrown around his body, and a well-known voice behind him exclaimed, "Father, dear father!" The old man uttered a cry and turned around. Then, seeing his son, fell into his arms, pale and trembling. "What ails you, my dearest father? Are you ill?" inquired the young man, much alarmed. "No, no, my dear Edmond. My boy, my son. No, but I did not expect you. And the joy, the surprise of seeing you so suddenly. I feel as if I was going to die. Come, come, cheer up, my dear father. 'Tis I, really I. They say joy never hurts, and so I came to you without any warning. Come now, do smile instead of looking at me so solemnly. Here I am, back again, and we're going to be happy." All right, welcome to Chapter 2 of The Count of Monte Cristo. I was happy to read this today as I just had a little bout of anxiety over the state of the world, but that's why I started this project in the first place, as a healthy reprieve, however long or short, that I can pour myself into each day. So I'd love to know if you're getting anything out of this. Feel free to reach out, leave comments, let me know how you're doing. Yeah, so Dante is surprising his father here. I have done this to my parents in the past. They actually acted very similarly, having driven from California to Michigan and showing up at about 2 a.m. At their house, with them completely unexpecting my arrival. They were discombobulated, to say the least, but also overcome with joy. So, you know what? I related to this moment. But the question here, I think there's a little bit of foreshadowing, maybe, or just kind of planting the seeds of things we need to question. Is the father ill or just overcome with joy? How old is his father? We learn, that Dante is only 20-something. How old would his father be? I would imagine in his 40s at the latest, maybe. As someone who's 42, I don't really, suddenly my relation to this has dwindled. I don't feel elderly and feeble, but you know what? I've gotten lightheaded standing on a stool before, so maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should take a hard look in the mirror. But anyway, could this I don't know, could he be hiding some sort of illness that came on while Dante was at sea? I don't know. This could be one of those things where, in the movies, you get just a hint that something might be off in the first act, but then that character who's the emotional hook for the protagonist starts coughing blood into a hanky in the third act. However, I don't think we're dealing with a 3-act structure here with 1,500 pages. Or I guess that depends on what copy you're reading. That's why books you'll often hear referred to their length in terms of words, not pages, because that all differs depending on the font you're using, the line spacing, font size, all kinds of stuff. If you have ever read on an e-reader and have changed the size of the font, you know that the page count can change dramatically. So we're actually dealing with roughly around 464,162 words in the unabridged anonymous translation of the Count of Monte Cristo. Okay, one other thing I want to kind of mention here is that through that first chapter and already into the second chapter, this at times kind of feels like a travel log or like a word map of Marseille. Dumas seems really interested in grounding us in the reality of the world in which they inhabit. Like, these feel like if you went to Marseille, would there be a walking tour of the Count of Monte Cristo? maybe that's something we explore over the course of these 4 years of doing this podcast. I think the last thing I want to mention here is that I realize through chapter 1, my Midwest adding S's at the end of words was coming out a little bit, at least when I was giving my commentary. So often I would say Dantes instead of Dante. I'm aware of that. I'm working on it. It's 42 years of habit that I am trying to get rid of. So I know the difference, but for doing a daily podcast, I'd have to go back and re-record things, and that just ain't in the cards, folks. So you're gonna have to deal with the occasional Dantes instead of Dante. Okay, I guess that's it. We got a lot to cover, so let's move on in chapter 2, see what's happening with Dante and Daddy Dante. We'll see you tomorrow. Okay, goodbye. The Countdown of Monte Cristo is part of the Gruntwork Podcast Network. This show is produced, edited, and hosted by Landon Solano. The original text of The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexander Dumas. Theme song by Magic Solo. If you want to support the show and others like it, visit patreon.com/gruntworkpod. Thank you for listening. See you tomorrow.